My name is Garrett McPartland. I'm a new English teacher at St. Edward High School. I was born and raised on the New Jersey shore. Made my way to Baltimore to attend Loyola University and stayed there for over a decade. I attended Johns Hopkins University and a little more at Loyola University for 2 master's degrees. I started teaching while I was there, originally in public high school and then private. I taught for 7 years at a all-boys Christian Brothers school called Calvert Hall, and came out to Cleveland for my wife's family. She's a teacher at Magnificat and grew up in Lakewood. Probably the most important thing I find about teaching literature is teaching analytical thinking. So students reading the text and knowing what happens, but beyond that, being able to talk about it from different critical lenses, whether you're talking about it from a gender standpoint or talking about it from a consumer standpoint. There are different ways to look at literature.
And he was going through those segments that are longer descriptions, and he was just taking little parts of it out and being like, he had a great smile for John Proctor, which, by the way, is true.
One of my favorite books to teach is The Crucible because of the fact that it's an analogy between Salem witch trials and the Red Scare. And you can really update it beyond the 1950s. So every period of time has its sort of hysteria about what's going on at that point. Now it could be terrorism. And so in class we talk a lot about the parts of our culture that we feel uncomfortable with and the things that make us a little uneasy. And that's sort of the root of what happens in the Salem witch trials and the root of what was happening in the 1950s, whether it was witchcraft or it was communism, whether it's terrorism now. So really to interact with the book and find out what you can take and apply to modern times.
Much about how he looks. All right, they leave a little bit to your imagination. Does anybody else have things for appearance? That's what I found, is that Paris is a little bit up to your imagination, whatever you're going to picture a reverend. A little materialistic, so maybe he takes care of himself.
From a student perspective, I imagine they're really getting what I think is interesting and what I can talk about with the most passion. So I like to approach things from a little more of a philosophical perspective, from an analytical perspective. And I'm free to really push that in class and challenge them to think in new and creative ways, and then assess them based on that, as opposed to it just being something that I add in, sprinkle in to make it a little more exciting. This can be the basis of how we study the literature.
I'll put the nonconformist up here. What does it mean to be biting? Let's break that down.
So I think as we head forward into the future and literature and its definition kind of expands, we need to be ready for the new ways that artists, authors can present material and present ideas that aren't just through words.